And the Hangouts on air is now live. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody, and welcome to the MinecraftEdu After Chat. This is the place where we come after the Twitter EdChat. MinecraftEdu is the hashtag if you're new to this environment. And we hold the Twitter chats every single Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. And then we hold this special After Chat, which is an opportunity for us, the founders of MinecraftEdu Chat, to really have an in-depth conversation with the host of the evening. Now, tonight, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit special for us because we get the opportunity.
It's all about us.
That's it. It's Mark and I, the dynamic duo, who are bringing you the topic of, Mark, why don't you go ahead and tell us what the topic of today was?
Yeah, so, I mean, this week we were discussing game-based learning versus, I'm going to call it PBL, versus gamification. And really, what is the best for learners and teachers? And we had a great conversation tonight, and there was a lot of controversy and a lot of great ideas being thrown around. It was exciting. I mean, it's just been an exciting week, I think, in Minecraft. There's just been so much going on between Mindfair and, you know, we're really moving ahead with Education Edition. So I'm really excited to see all the things that are coming up. And I know you had just a Minecraft-packed weekend. So it's just been awesome. So I was really excited about this chat, and I really enjoyed, you know, just the two of us having our conversation, and it was awesome. So let's jump in, huh? What do you say?
Well, let's talk about sort of just a couple of things. First of all, so the MinecraftEdu After Chat is an opportunity for you guys to really actually engage in a more in-depth conversation. And I think given the topic of GBL, PBL, and gamification, especially GBL and gamification are two very often confused terms. So this chat is really going to be something that I think you'll want to share with your friends and share with the people out there who you know are starting to dip their toes into gamification, game-based learning, and using Minecraft.
Yes.
Because some of the definitions of games, gamification, game-based learning that came out during the chat are really, really important things to know to be able to implement effectively in the classroom. So if you're watching this live on YouTube right now, please make sure that you're using the comment section. There is, because it's a live stream, there is a section where you can actually chat with us, along with us during the chat. So go ahead and use that. I'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the chat. If you're watching this post, then please feel free to share it out. Feel free to tweet us at our Twitter handles. Mine's at PBJellyGames. Mark's is at M Grundel. And we also want you to include the hashtag MinecraftEdu. Anyway, without further ado, let's rock right into question one. Mark, why don't you take it from here?
All right. So question one was just that we hear a lot about, you know, game-based learning and gamification, and what is the difference? Because I think a lot of people who are new kind of use the terms interchangeably, and there's a big difference. So that was question number one. Just what is the difference, not only for the teacher, but also for the students?
Exactly. Sorry, I've got myself stuck on my screen here. So was there anything that stood out that somebody pointed out about gamification from the audience, from the crowd who joined us on the Tuesday night Twitter chat, that really stuck out to you as being one of the interesting things?
Well, you know, I was just surprised at how well received gamification is and how well received game-based learning is. But that there really are a lot of differences where game-based learning really does involve the kids being involved in an authentic. I think that's what came up a lot. It's really got to be an authentic game. And we're you know, when we deal with a game like Minecraft, it really it's true to the kids. And as an educator, we need to make sure that we're keeping those game-like elements inside of our learning. That was something that really was important. I'm trying to go back because I know John Miller had a great comment, and I want to find it. But why don't you go ahead while I look for it?
Yeah, take a moment to find that, because I'll talk to everybody. So I do a lot of research into game-based learning, very specifically game-based learning, and I have an understanding of gamification and its applications, especially from the corporate world. But what's interesting to me is I look at this, and I mentioned this to Mark, and I have this unique analogy for it. I think, you know, gamification is involved in every single game that you see today. It's the badges, it's the points, it's the levels, it's the extra layer of interaction and activity that goes on top of a game like Call of Duty or Minecraft or Mario Brothers or something like that. It's those little extra details that really keep players engaged in it. And we can use that so effectively in the classroom by using things like badges and levels. But if you look at a game context, and I look at it as the game itself is the skeleton. It has the mechanics, it has the rules, it has the competition, it has those elements of a game that are characteristics of a game, and a beginning and an end, right? That's an important factor in most games. But if you take the game away, it's like having a skeleton with the skin on top. The gamification is the skin, the pretty nice looking face, beautiful skin, nice makeup, good hair, do it all up nice and fancy, woohoo. And the game itself is the skeletal structure. You take away the skeletal structure and everything starts to flop around. And so that's kind of my theory on why, game-based learning, we can get some serious power from game-based learning if we can utilize it correctly. But that's not to say that prettying things up and using these engagement elements in the classroom are not valuable tools to start with. But, I think that the next level is really that GBL or game-based learning where kids are actively involved in a holistic, authentic game.
So I'm going to piggyback off of what you said. I found John's comment, and what really stood out to me in John's comment, John Miller, was that he said game-based learning is his preferred approach. I gamify a bit, but really want to target intrinsic motivators. And it ties in so well with what you were saying about gamification is really tying in the extrinsic motivators. Yeah. Whether it's in addition to your skin, whether it's a perk or ability, but it's really an extrinsic motivator where I think the game is the motivator in itself. And to get to that, next spot in the game, you need to push your thinking, push your learning to the next level. So looking at it from that lens of, intrinsic versus extrinsic motivators.
Absolutely. And that's a picture perfect point. And I know John Miller does a fantastic job using Minecraft. And this is why I absolutely love Minecraft, is because it allows you to jump in at a project-based level. It allows you to get experience at a gamification level and use it for those little game elements that it has. But it also allows you to go full circle and full step ahead. And John Miller uses this very well because he creates these beautiful adventures for his kids. And not only he creates it, but he also works with the kids, and the kids actually start to create these games. And I know another educator like Jim Pike and Steve Isaacs, they are actually in their classrooms creating games in Minecraft, like I do with my company, for the learning purpose. And these are real learning games. They're designed so that a player can go through them, have fun, but they're learning along the way about whether it's the subject matter or like Jim's recent example, which is like the photosynthesis process in plants. And it's just truly amazing stuff to see. And it's stuff that kids just voluntarily want to be a part of.
Yes, absolutely.
We had a lot of amazing examples of using gamification and game-based learning in the classroom, but the chat is not just about game-based learning. The chat tonight was about PBL as well. And we had a really unique question that Mark came up with, and it was awesome how he came up with this. And it's, when we say PBL, what does the P stand for? Problem, project, or something else? And the conversation was vibrant on this.
Yeah.
Mark, what were your thoughts going in versus coming out?
So, this is a conversation I've had before on Twitter, just about PBL. And there always seems to be some confusion and controversy about what does the P stand for. And I thought, let's throw it out to our audience and see what do they have to say. Because, we're all at different points and different places. And while some of us see it as problem-based or project-based learning, there were some people in our audience who felt project-based, problem-based learning. That sounds, very negative. I wouldn't use that connotation. And then Teresa T.M. McCoy loved what she said, passion-based learning. And I think that is so powerful to say, well, we're going to work on a passion project. You know, you're going to pick the topic that you are passionate about, and how do you want to express it? You know, we were talking about Google before, right? And I mean, Google's all about that. The 20% time, the genius hour. That's what passion projects are all about. And some of the best innovations come from passion-based learning. So I love throwing that P in.
There's another one that came up.
Yep.
It was from Benjamin Kelly, and
Yes.
I'm always astounded by the genius that comes from this man. We've had him as a guest host on the chat before. I'm not saying this just because he's a fellow Canadian, but realistically, he said, you know, he's heard it mostly used as project-based learning, but he loves the idea of using it as purpose-based learning. And it's amazing when we take a look at, you know, all these different terms. They're very semantic in nature, very different semantically. But there's this key driving factor to some of these words like passion and purpose. And I wonder if there's some way that we can kind of combine all of those words together, because it'd be beautiful to use all of them at the same time as a description, I think. PBL, that's it.
And then Keenan Scott, new to our chat, I think had a little difficulty following along, and this may have been first Twitter chat, but also used perseverance and said, you know, starts with a project but ends with perseverance, and I thought that was very clever, and that, you know, we need to persevere, and that's when we're going to do our best work, right?
So let's focus in for a quick minute on the Minecraft portion.
Yes.
Because, you know, Minecraft is so well suited to
Yes.
project-based learning,
Yes.
to passion-based learning, to purpose-based learning, to perseverance-based learning in so many different ways. I think the GBL side really focuses more on the perseverance, but even the project side, because you're always in projects, you're going to come across these problems in a project.
Yes.
I look back to Joel Mills, who was a guest on our show a few weeks back, and he talked about a project that he ran with master's level students. He's a university tech integration specialist. And basically, he had them looking at project management using Minecraft.
Yes.
And it was amazing because some of these players really did come up with problems within the project management cycle when other teammates didn't show up, or, you know, builds got behind, or they had to shift out resources, things like this. So Minecraft really fits itself well into, you know, all of these different P's, in that you can run a big scale project collaboratively. With Minecraft's Education Edition, it's absolutely beautiful, and I want to talk about that because you can also throw in little challenges in there with the custom NPCs that they have. You can have students taking pictures of the iteration of their work and storing it right up in their OneDrive. So there's all these different opportunities with Minecraft now to engage in the project.
Yes, and I mean, you can have different NPCs that link you to a shared document, so that kids are working on a shared document through the game. And you know, I want to focus on some of the other P's too, like that problem-based learning. I mean, how many examples do we see of Minecraft being used to solve problems, like block by block?
I'm going to stop you just for a minute, Mark, because I just want to let everybody know that we are bridging between question 2 and question 3.
We are
now. So question 2 is when we say PBL, what are we talking about? And it's obviously problem, project, purpose, passion, perseverance. You know, come up with any other P if you are watching the live.
Put them in the comments.
Yeah, share some P's. Share some P's with us.
People-based learning, no.
Yeah, well, could be. Q3, though, was how does Minecraft truly support the P's in PBL and the G's in GBL? So we'll talk about the G's in GBL in a second, but go ahead and continue your point.
Yeah, I mean, how many examples do we see of Minecraft solving problems? You know, whether it's sustainability, limited resources. Shane Asseltine gave a great example about transportation in Hawaii. Block by block, the nonprofit is doing city planning, urban planning, common area planning, and using Minecraft. It's collaborative, but there's a problem, and Minecraft is being used as an innovative solution to those problems. So,
Well, yeah, it's definitely being used because of its collaborative nature, its ability to pretty much do anything and build anything and create anything and model anything.
mhm,
It's really being used to model these problems and say, to take a different look at it, a different perspective on it, and say, how do we fix it? And it's amazing how well it works.
yep. Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible, the amount, the variety of people that you're drawing in. It's not just kids working in Minecraft, but adults too, and it's multi generational. I mean, take Irv's example. He was late for the chat. He wasn't solving any problems, but he was playing with his father-in-law and his son. I mean, you got three generations right there, and the same thing is happening in
These
these
large scale.
yeah, these large scale models where we're solving problems multi-generational.
And what it really boils down to is, again, going back to the collaborative nature of this tool.
Yes.
The fact that the ceiling is low to get in, the learning
Mhm.
curve is fairly low to get in and be able to experience. It's such a spatial tool that you can get, and this is one of the highlights that comes out to me in Minecraft, and in all the discussions that we have, and Steve talks about it all the time. You talk about it, I talk about it all the time. It's the fact that if you're a teacher using Minecraft, and here's a little advice for teachers. If you're a teacher using Minecraft and you're not playing the game, and you're sitting back and just having the students build or do anything, you're losing out on a tremendous opportunity. Now,
Yes.
I encourage game development in Minecraft, and I'm one of the biggest supporters of Minecraft being an actual game design engine. And so I'd like to see more learning games being actually produced that students can just go in and play on their own. But in a project-based learning environment, I think it's essential for a teacher to be in there, to be helping to showcase, to demonstrate, to do things like that, because that collaborative aspect really comes into play in that, whether it's adults, children, whatever. So what about the G in GBL? How does Minecraft truly support the game? And you know me, I'm going to be a little bit on the controversial side when I talk about this, because I have a particular theory that, I have, not necessarily
Well,
controversial, but I have a theory that,
it's deep.
I've seen
It's deep.
in action.
So why don't you share that, because
Okay.
I'm sure some of our audience, they may come around and see it your way, but they may disagree.
I and it's really, we're in such a nascent stage with game-based learning and gamification in general and Minecraft in general, that my opinion is theory-based. It's from a lot of experience working with kids in Minecraft as a former YouTuber, working with educators in Minecraft as an educator. But I believe that the G in game-based learning with Minecraft really represents an opportunity to create these true serious games in Minecraft. These games where they have the mechanics and the game elements, where it
Mhm.
becomes something that has a beginning and an end. It's something that kids will voluntarily want to do, not just to build, but to engage in a narrative driven story, or I particularly love adventure games, role play type style. And I believe that that really affords such a unique opportunity to get kids into a state of flow when they're actually working within the game. And it becomes such an immersive experience that retention value is significantly improved. Because if you remember any game that you played back in the day, Tetris, Mario Brothers, whatever the case is, I guarantee you it was not the points, it was not the lives, it was not the little badges and everything like that that drove you. But I guarantee you that you learned so much. And if you go back to that game today, you will still remember how to play it.
Mhm.
And I talk about this with the prime example of Mario. In Mario, you learn. You learn to walk across a screen, and you learn how far do you have to jump? How fast do you have to be running to get over that jump, that hurdle? And these are built-in mechanics that players will learn and practice and learn and practice and fail and
Yes.
fail and try again. And if we can create that impact, that level of passion for learning, that level of try again learning in a classroom environment by making the mechanics tied to the actual learning concept, then we have an opportunity for power. And Minecraft really is an ultimate game engine because there's so much that you can do to create games in Minecraft. So that's my, short/long-winded theory on game-based learning in Minecraft.
Yeah, that's tough to follow up. I mean, it definitely supports teacher as game designer, but also I think student as game designer.
Exactly.
So yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that. I mean, I guess if you briefly wanted to share your thoughts on, is Minecraft truly a game, or are all elements of Minecraft truly a game? I don't know if we want to get into that right now.
I think we'll save that for another point in
Yeah.
time. Suffice it to say that, Minecraft is versatile.
Yeah.
It acts as a tool, and I put a blog out that you can find in the beginning part of the Twitter chat if you look at our partners at Participate
Yes.
Learn. And I talk about, its different value points and its different value aspects. And it does have game elements, and it is a game. But I think a game really has to have certain characteristics, including competition, which is a major characteristic. So we were bringing up the example in the chat of, so maybe I will talk about it because I did say we should bring this up, is you talked about a particular game that is flooding the market in Minecraft right now. It's hugely powerful. Every child is playing it. It's called Build Battle. All right. Building in Minecraft is not a game. I don't believe it's a game. It's an activity. It's used as a tool, and Minecraft is being used in that context as a tool. Build Battle is a game. There is a time limit. There is an objective that you have to achieve. There is challenging competition because you're competing against other people, and you are voluntarily joining in the process and the activity of doing it. Just because you're building, you've turned it into a game. So that's kind of how I look at Minecraft. You can just go in and build in it. You can use it for project-based learning, similar to bristle boards and construction paper and dioramas and building out of blocks the same way as we've done in classrooms for years and years and years, but that doesn't make it a game.
Okay.
When you go into the game aspects of it, survival, playing, challenge, competition, things like that, that's when you get into the true game.
I think everyone would agree that the survival aspect is a true game.
Absolutely.
In itself, even mini games aside, I think survival, we can argue there's definitely plenty of elements of challenge.
Absolutely.
And now there is an end.
And
it wasn't always.
And I shouldn't say it has a beginning and an end because, it's very interpretive. In a beginning and an end, it can also be player determined.
Yes.
To the beginning and the end. Right? And it's the same thing as competition. Competition doesn't necessarily mean that I have to compete against you. I can be competing against myself, or yes. I can be competing against characters within the game that have been programmed to present a challenge. But it's still a form of competition. Anyway, let's get back to the chat.
Yeah.
We're talking deep theory here. That if anybody wants to talk about it with me, I am always up for that conversation. I theorize and research this all day long. Q4, what are some of the examples that you've seen of gamification in the classroom? Because we did say earlier that gamification is not a bad thing, even though, I believe the next stage is game-based learning. Gamification still has a good purpose in the classroom because sometimes you need that extrinsic motivator.
Yes.
To really just get the kids back engaged in a dry subject or something like that. So what examples did we pull out?
So I'm going to go back to John Miller, and I know that you disagreed with him, and I'm kind of on the fence on this one. He said, my students earn in-game rewards for completing quests, which can be used in future quests. And I wish John had elaborated on that, because that could be game-based learning, right? You're completing a quest for perhaps better items that can be used in a future quest, right? Or are they some sort of perks, like it's a hint card or something, like I'll give you a hint. That might be gamification. It was interesting. I really like that one.
Yeah, so John's point was really about how he uses quest-driven activities within his class. And the reason why I disagreed with him and said no, I think it's actually game-based learning that you're doing, is because I've seen the work that he does. And I've seen the Minecraft modules that he's put together. And what he actually does is he ties it into this broader story context. So when he's looking at, implementing a project based around, medieval London or, the ancient Chinese empires, he drives it into a story, and he walks his children through a particular story where they become the heroine or hero, and they have to achieve certain accomplishments. And part of the game is that they have to do the classwork that's attached to it. And I think by doing that, by virtue of the fact that he's putting them in an immersive scenario, and there is a clear end to this, and they scale up their level with equipment and with that, I think that turns it into a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So
I saw.
my opinion.
No. I absolutely agree. And I mean, as you move through a game, you're definitely gonna get better equipment. I mean, just look at the game of Minecraft, right? Yeah. Everyone starts out with wooden tools, and you move up to stone, and eventually you get to iron, and hopefully you get diamond, right? I mean, it's the same process. I mean, just as you move through the quests, you gain better and better items. Yeah. I wonder if he offers. I don't know. Maybe if he's watching this, he can answer it for us. But if he offers other in-game perks that might not necessarily, be within the game naturally, that he might add.
So this is a perfect opportunity to sort of talk about what are the gamification elements that can be used, and adding in-game perks. So if you have say free time in Minecraft, this is another element of gamification, which is using a game as a reward, right? And it's not about the game. It's any type of reward that you attach, aside from, well, it can be argued that grades are gamification, realistically, but more normally you're looking at badges and levels and yes, like that. But you can also be looking at other types of rewards. So if you have kids who are doing their schoolwork and handing it in on time, and doing really good on their assignments, showing good behavioral skills, things like that, and you want to behaviorally modify, which I'm not a big fan of the approach, but if you do, gamification comes in where you can say, okay, as your reward, you're going to get these badges, these levels, the class dojo approach. Or you can get to play in Minecraft, and when you're in Minecraft, I'll give you a diamond. I'll give you this, that, or the other thing for achieving those. And these are good extrinsic motivators to use. And that's a way to use gamification. Now, you mentioned how you've used some gamification in Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you need to be careful about what you're rewarding, right? So in my class, we have all our C's, right? We got creativity, we got collaboration, communication, we have citizenship, we have caring. We got like 7 C's. So if I see a kid demonstrating those things, he or she is going to get perks. Now I also use Classcraft, which I think does a nice job of gamifying the classroom. It's simple, it's manageable. I don't have to bounce back and forth between an Excel sheet. I just can simply quickly give kids little perks, and they're not necessarily tangible perks, but they might be able to get a new skin for their avatar, or new clothing. They can use little powers like teleport, where they get to sit next to a friend. They get to listen to music. So I'm really looking at are the kids collaborating? Are they thinking critically? Are they thinking creatively? Are they being kind to each other? Those are the things that I'm rewarding, and I'm looking for those whether they're working just in the regular schoolwork, but also if they're doing this stuff in Minecraft. Like, are they demonstrating collaboration within the game? Are they truly working together, or are they just kind of running around and they're all kind of doing their own thing? And I think that those are important things to pay attention to. Yes, we want the kids to learn the content, absolutely. But Minecraft lends itself so well to the C's, and we've talked about that, and we've talked about it, and we've talked about it weeks and weeks and weeks, that Minecraft just naturally lends itself so well to all of those C's. Let's reward the kids for actually demonstrating that.
Okay. So that's Q4. How
Yeah.
could you or have you gamified your classroom using Minecraft? Q5, what is the role of the teacher slash student in GBL versus PBL, and what are the
Yeah.
pros and cons? This is going to be an
This
interesting little.
this was a tough one, right? I
It
mean,
really was.
140 characters, you really couldn't get out what you wanted to say.
Wow. But there were some good highlights, and especially from some of our student voices. There is, Paula had said the students play the game,
Hmm.
right? And so it may sound obvious. It just may sound obvious in GBL that the students play the game, and that's fine. But does the teacher have a role in GBL? I think it opens the idea of discussion. Should the teacher be playing the game as well in order to really understand what are the learning opportunities? One of the most effective ways of implementing game-based learning in the classroom is to do pre-instructions, right? So you talk about the subject matter that the game pertains to. This is, of course, if you're using a commercial-based game and bringing it into the classroom. And you basically want to preface it by saying, look, these are the things that you might want to look for. These are the things that you might want to think about. These are the ideas that you want the students having in their head as they're going through the game so that they can pick them up and understand them and, think about them in that flow state. And then, of course, post. So that, I think, is a responsibility of the teachers, is to really go through the game and say, how am I going to use this? Especially if it's not a game that was designed for education, for a specific subject. Like, I designed for specific subjects, and, I can make sure that, the teacher that I'm working with is really, really driving the lesson plan, and we're driving the lesson plan into the game so that we know by the end of it the player will have learned this. Otherwise, they will not have completed the game, kind of thing. But with off-the-shelf games, it's very hard to do that. So it requires the teacher be a lot more involved in the game itself and understanding, where those flow states are going to lead the learning, or be able to, at the back end and front end, guide the students and harness that learning that they want.
I think at the back end, it's very important, that debrief session, that reflection on the game and on the learning that took place, because learning may have taken place and it just may not even be obvious to the students. They may be so engaged and involved in the game that they don't even know, exactly what they've learned until they have that time to reflect and debrief and talk with the teacher and talk with the students. And of course, just what you're saying, with commercial over-the-counter games like Minecraft, oftentimes there are not just preset, prefab games. The teacher has a huge responsibility in oftentimes designing the game, which is why it's so important to play the game. In order to build, you have to understand the game mechanics in order to build and design the game.
See, this is why I like Minecraft from the game-based learning perspective, and why I'm, always talking with educators about be the game designer. Because in Minecraft, you can create a game, even if it's something as simple as using the NPCs in Education Edition or non-Education Edition to create a quest chain.
Yeah.
And literally just set 5 different NPCs that talk about different information, and the student has to collect all that information in order to figure out where to go. Yeah. And, this becomes a valuable opportunity for teachers to focus the lesson and create these serious focal points for that learning, which alleviates a lot of the responsibility on the front and the back end to do that debrief. You know that you've designed it in such a way that by the time a student has completed that set of activities, they will have learned that, or they should have. If they didn't, it's not a matter of interpretation. It's a matter of, okay, there's an area that we need to now focus on. And I think that adds tremendous power to a tool belt, because now they can see realistically what students are having trouble with, what particular pieces.
Mm-hmm. And just one thing that I feel passionately about, especially about with game-based learning, is when I design a game, I'm excited about it. I want the kids to play it so bad, and I often just want to give stuff away. And part of the game is that discovery and that exploration. So I think the teacher's role in, setting it up is so important, but there's also what is not said. It's so important that you don't give too much away. And so while from the outside perspective, it may look like the teacher's not doing much in the get-go.
Mm.
I think that's done intentionally. Is once you put something out there, you cannot take it away. You can always add something later on, but I think in game-based learning, one of the cons is that there is a lot of setup and a lot of prep work. But
I
then
disagree with that. I don't. Well, I want to disagree with that. I want to disagree with that because of the way it's worded. I don't really want. And when I talk to educators about this, I don't want them to think that there's this huge amount that you have to do, because one of the statements that Irv Spanish was making is that you really need to understand game elements. You need to understand, if you're going to design a game, which I encourage every educator to do, you have to have a basic understanding of game elements and narrative being important, the topic line, the chain, all of that. There are certain logic systems in games that empower students to really get engaged in it, but you don't have to be an expert.
No,
there are some very simple ways, like just setting up a certain amount of NPCs to tell the story, to create the narrative. And every teacher can create a narrative.
Yes.
There's so many easy ways. So I had to react viscerally to there's a lot of work, because I think it can be as much work as you want to put into it.
It's one of the teacher's most valuable resources is time, and it is time. It's time. I think even a simple game, is going to require an investment in time. Although I will say, a pro is that once you have that game, you have it, and once you design a game like that, you can probably very easily adapt it for another lesson. So it's shareable. So if I design one game and someone else on my team designs another game, it's very easy to share maps. So those are definitely, I would say, pros. But I think that there is a fair amount of time invested up front. But then a pro to that is, as the teacher, I'm not going to say I get to sit back and relax, but I do take a step back, and I love watching the kids play the game. I mean, I love that. I get such a thrill out of that. And, Steve Isaacs made a joke. Oh, you don't just sit back and, put your feet up and relax. No, I'm walking around the room. I'm enjoying it. But to an outside perspective, I'm just walking around my room. You know what I mean? I'm not giving these kids directions, because I want them to explore. I want them to discover. I want them to fail sometimes and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. And I'm not going to let them quit. And I'm going to say, it's okay to fail, but it's not okay to accept that as final. But I'm not really doing that much. And I mean, if I see a kid really struggling, I'll, give them a hint or whatever, because I don't want them to be frustrated. But I'm not doing that much. There's a lot up front, but then the day of class, it's on the kids,
Yeah. No, valid point.
That's me. I mean, as opposed to, project-based learning, we talked a lot about the GBL, so let's talk about the PBL. I mean, I said project. I guess that's a bold statement there, but I think PBL, it is different, where there may not necessarily be as much upfront work for the teacher. The teacher has to set the learning goals, but then at the same token, when the kids are in their projects, you might have 10 different projects going along, and you have to work with 10 different groups on all these different skills. So it's much more of a juggling act the day of, or for that unit. But then again, I mean they're both just,
they're both
I don't know, like think about
students.
Like we talked about problem-based learning, we talked about project-based learning. Let's talk about passion-based learning. I mean, imagine a kid is like, I really want to get good at coding and programming and using command blocks. Let's use command blocks, right?
Sure.
So it's like, all right, hey, I know this guy, Garrett Zimmer, PB Jelly Games, or Dragnaz. All of a sudden now the kid is Skyping with an expert and communicating with an expert and is sharing their expertise with an expert and learning in that sense. I mean, Minecraft offers that. It's just another vehicle. It's another tool to meet with an expert and build knowledge in that sense. If we're talking passion-based learning, that is.
Absolutely.
Where the kid is really picking the topic and driving the learning and driving the instruction and saying, by the end of this project, I'm going to be able to do, whatever, use a command block to build a house or something like that.
Could do.
Yeah. I can't.
If you're trying to get into coding and you want to learn things like Java and scripting with command blocks, there's that opportunity to really set up a problem and say, okay, solve it with your coding skills. And again, it goes right back into problem based learning. It's the same thing. It's problem-based learning, passion-based learning. It's perseverance-based learning.
It's purposeful. It's meaningful learning. And relevant.
And I think one of the amazing things about the role of a teacher, for me, the way I look at it in project-based learning, and this is mentioned by, I believe it was Stephen Isaacs. So the main role of an educator in providing providing a game that drives student learning through experiential play, but there was another one. There we go. Project-based learning is about posing the problem and having students empowered in creative problem solving. But I want to kind of take those 2 points, both from Stephen Isaacs, and slam them together because they make a beautiful sandwich. And the one key point that I want to bring out there from Stephen is that it's about the educator providing something that drives students to want to learn. Right. And I think I'm going to mash it all up because I think in project-based learning, we are missing a huge opportunity in a lot of our schools and a lot of our classrooms. And this is the opportunity of working collaboratively, as you were saying, with people in the community. And, when we start to look at as teachers or as educators, people in the community and say, they're not teachers, they're not students, they don't know this area, therefore it's very hard for me to reach out to them. You can't think that way.
No.
Because I'll tell you, the students, if you can put your students in front, I'm reminded of a story of Zoe Brannigan Pipe, who had her students working in Minecraft on a city redevelopment project, a waterfront redevelopment project in the city of Hamilton, which is a steel town. And so, all these ugly steel buildings in this downtown waterfront area that the city was looking for solutions. And the kids to get involved in this project was absolutely empowering for them and empowering for the city. So as an educator, part of your duty, I think, in project-based learning is to go out there, engage with the community out there, and find a problem that somebody needs. I used to work with college university students and get them to go out and search around for businesses. These are marketing students, business students, and search for businesses that needed some consulting, that needed some help, that had a problem, whether it be social media, whatever it is. And it's so empowering for students. And it's so empowering for teachers to make those connections. And it's so empowering for the community. So I think that's part of the role is the educator should be providing these larger project opportunities for the students to be involved in that are going to harness their passion, but also support a larger educational ecosystem. And I've seen
absolutely. I mean, when we talk about, I'm sorry, my brain's not at 100% right now, but rebuilding a town, whether it's after a disaster or it's just, what's the word I'm talking? I'm not re-beautifying. I don't know. That's not a real world.
Re-beautifying, recovery.
Yeah, but just when like the city invests a lot of money to make a particular area nice for whatever purpose. Minecraft is a great tool for doing that. I mean, and it's so cheap, right? I mean, think how cheaply you can do it. And that's right. We talked about it earlier with block by block, but anyone can do it. It's such a low barrier of entry. Anyone can do it. And to give kids that voice and saying, well, this is what I imagine our town looking like. This is what our town could look like. I mean, it's so empowering. And I do just want to say that, Minecraft has always been, and I think always will be, driven by the community. Not just even the education aspect of it, I think is so heavily driven by the community. And to silence that voice is you're just cutting off so many voices. It just loses so much of its value, and I don't think that's what Minecraft is about. Minecraft, I'm a little guilty of it. I was at Mine Fair this weekend, and I hung out in the educator section, and there was the YouTubers over, in the other room, and I was like, I'm not really into the whole YouTube scene. My second day, my student really wanted to go over there. I went over there with him. I met some amazing people, and I just chatted with the YouTubers, and just great people, phenomenal. That's not a real word either, but yeah. I met some of your good friends, Tomahawk and Nettie and Neuro. Amazing, great people, and they are contributing so much, and they are teaching our students so much, because that's where the kids are going to learn. And to say that they are not valid because they're not educators is it's false.
Even there's some who take an elitist standpoint on it, but I don't think that's the focus that needs to be made. The true opportunity is even businesses in your local community, groups in your local community, art networks in your local community, restoration projects in your local community. All of these different organizations present a major opportunity for students to get involved, including the YouTubers, and provide feedback and perspective on opportunities for learning. But the ball is still in the teacher's court to make sure that all of those projects are harnessed and brought in a way that really supports the learning that you are trying to get.
And going all the way back, bringing it all the way back to question 5, the teacher's really that facilitator, right? Facilitating between the student and their ideas, their dreams, and the community. If they're reaching out, if my students are reaching out to Skype with you because they want to do some sort of game design, ultimately they're still my students. I need to facilitate that process between you, whether we're Skyping, you're Skyping just with a few kids, you're Skyping whole class, teachers really facilitating that process. That's what I'm saying.
I'll tell you, that's, and I think I speak for other people out there as well, or I won't speak for other people out there as well, but I think it's, it's quite common to be excited when you're invited to join a classroom and see, I've met with a lot of teachers in their classrooms, and it's fun, especially being a former YouTuber, because half the kids know me, or a few of the kids know me at any rate. And, it's great, but it's empowering for the students as well.
Yes.
Anyway.
All right.
So let's call it there. I think we covered every question. We had a great conversation, as Mark and I always do. I hope this was enlightening for everybody. We wanted to really talk about this topic because game-based learning, it's a passion of mine. Game-based learning is a passion of Mark's. I know that. So if we did get a little off topic or a little deep into the topic, that was our intention. Our intention was not to last 50 minutes, but that's,
it never is.
How it works. It never is. So if you have stuck with us to this point in time, we do thank you for your time. We hope that you gained something from the insights that we bring to the table, and what we've seen in the MinecraftEdu Chat week over week over week over week. And I hope you gained some insights from all of the other amazing educators that are out there in the MinecraftEdu Chat. The Twitter chat is the place to be on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. if you are looking to learn a little bit more and gather some resources and understanding around Minecraft in a very simplified way, join us on Tuesday nights at 8:00 p.m. And if you're in for a deeper conversation, a little bit more meaning into what we're talking about, broader than 140 characters, we do have the after chats every Tuesday night at 9:00 p.m. Usually every Tuesday night. Sometimes, you know, our guest won't be able to do it, or something will come up. But we do encourage you to join us. Follow the hashtag MinecraftEdu. We have an amazing and vibrant community. And one of the things that I want to give a big thank you to is all the student voice that comes week after week after week. It is so empowering to see students come into a Twitter EdChat and talk about their passion, which is Minecraft, as it is ours. So thank you to the students. Thank you to all the educators who are viewing us on a weekly basis and tuning into the Ed Chats and engaging with each other. It really warms our hearts, and we're happy to be a part of this experience along with you.
Yeah,
next week, Mark.
Next week we have
Katrina Keene.
Katrina Keene with at least one of her children, maybe two.
DD1 Gaming.
DD1 Gaming, and possibly her daughter, Pink Gamer Girl.
Yeah, I think Pink Gamer 20.
Pink Gamer 20. So they are a family that plays together. We'll be tweeting out some resources from Katrina. She's got a great video with her son. So it's going to be an awesome chat. We're really looking forward to it. And yeah, we hope to see you there.
Yeah. And if you're looking to follow Katrina Keene, she is a very powerful influencer. Well, I shouldn't say a powerful influencer, but she is very influential on Twitter, and she has an amazing following, and she runs an EdChat herself. But she also is just so amazing in her theories on learning, her use of technology in the classroom. So she is Teach in Tech Gal, I believe.
Teach in Tech Gal, yep.
At Teach in Tech Gal. So go ahead and follow her. Make sure you follow the Minecraft Edu hashtag. And don't forget, coming up in about 2 weeks, Minecraft Education Edition launches officially. So if you or your school have not gotten a hold of the beta, you have up until that time to kind of play around with it, download it using your school's education account, get into it, take a look at the game, play it, see what it is that's driving your students wild about it, and come back to us with your ideas and your thoughts and your experiences in the Minecraft Edu chat. For now, I'm going to say goodbye. My name is Garrett Zimmer, PBL Games, and thank you guys very much.
Yes. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.